Good afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here, May 15th, 2024, about just before 4 p.m. New York City time. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. And just wanted, I have been off recording videos here for the last couple of days as I just, play around with some stuff here. So just wanted to drop a quick video on, a brief market update and just a little bit of my continuation here playing around with line charts and everything. And so let's just get into this. Before we get started, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time. Really appreciate it. And as always, comments, concerns, questions, etc., just drop them down below. If there's anything you want me to cover, I honestly get very few comments, which is fine. But, if there's anything you want me to cover, you want to do a live stream sometime, just let me know what you want if you need anything, okay? Like I said, there's never anything for sale on this channel. I don't sell courses. I don't sell signals. I don't sell indicators. I don't affiliate link to anything. That's just not what I do. That's not what traders do. So, anyways, let's just talk really quick here. So I've been talking about using the line chart. I made the last couple of videos on that, and I've been kind of experimenting with using it on different time frames. I have been defaulting more to at least doing my initial analysis on the 30-minute to maybe 1 hour, at least to kind of get a bigger picture of the trend. It kind of smooths out the line chart a little bit, lets you see the more important levels, because obviously the more you step down into the time frames, the more you're going to see levels that maybe are not really important. They're just little blips in the overall trend that maybe you won't see on the hourly chart or even the 30-minute chart or even maybe on a 20-minute chart. And so I tend to start there every day on around the 30-minute chart, plus or minus one time frame, and just to kind of get a bigger picture of what's happening and whether I think there could be opportunities for that day or not. So this is gold. I only took I did take 2 trades in gold today. One was a small loser, and then the other one was a decent sized winner. I did leave some on the table. But let's talk about the chart really quick. And this is the 5-minute chart, by the way. And so this is what you have here is the line chart in yellow. This is just the regular line chart that's in MetaTrader, nothing special. And this indicator is a Heiken Ashi Smooth. So it's basically like the Heiken Ashi, but it smooths it out a little bit more, even more so than the regular Heiken Ashi does. And so I threw this on here today just to look and just to help me with, kind of look at areas that may or may not be important areas. So for instance, like on the line chart, it's not a great example, but you can see as price was going up here, you see this little area right here in the line chart where price paused. Now this is very small, but you can see the Heiken Ashi candles were green, were blue the whole time. So in terms of like the trend and everything, the Heiken Ashi candles certainly, and this is on a short time frame, 5 minutes, didn't care at all about this area. So it's not really an area you'd have to worry about, right? Over here, this was a more substantial pullback right here, and obviously the candles turned to bearish color, but the trend was still up. So this is actually a place where either you can look to manage a trade or exit a trade, which is the case here with this gold trade, or it also could be a re-entry point too. And I could have taken this back and re-entered here on this blue candle and squeezed out the last little bit of this trend. I didn't, mainly because I wasn't home for a good part of the morning. But anyways, so if we zoom out a little bit on this and we look just at this area right here, okay, you can see, we've been in this upturn. We pulled right back into this zone. You can see the line chart pulled back here, and you can see the Heiken Ashi indicator pulled back. And this area right here on the 30-minute chart was kind of a key area, right? This is obviously price started consolidating. This is the higher time frame. This was an area I was looking at, and you can see price spiked right into that. You can see the Heiken Ashi indicator, and the line chart spiked right into this area and then shot up. Okay, and I'm not sure why I had this line on here. Let me just take that off. And and I had this box drawn in here. Price came right down into it before that, and we went right up. Okay, and so and price really rallied for the entire day. So this was the trade. Well, I did take a long here initially off this bounce, and this one went down. You can see this was basically just a liquidity sweep below this low, trying to suck people into breakout traders to go short right here. But look, the overall trend was definitely up. I wasn't certainly not willing to short this without a lot more confirmation to the downside. And obviously this was definitely an area to grab breakout traders, trap them going short, and then push it back up. So we had this breakout of this area, retest, took out, swept the liquidity down here with these lows. You can see the line chart closing down here and the Heiken Ashi candles, slightly higher, and then price took off. So initially, when I didn't see this kind of following through, you can see I got in short, long right there. I closed it right away. I obviously, if I had held this, I probably had my stop loss down here. I would have been stopped out. So I cut the trade really short and figured, well, maybe it will go down, but either way, I'm just going to wait and see. And then as soon as it started breaking back higher again, I knew this was a liquidity sweep. You can see where I jumped in at this little blue arrow, and I got out right here when the Heiken Ashi candles started turning bearish again. I figured, at that point, I had taken quite a bit, and I actually, like I said, I had to run out, and I didn't want to have to manage this thing. Like I said, it did end up running up another leg until finally it kind of went sideways for the rest of the day here. Okay, so like I said, the only real purpose of this Heiken Ashi Smooth indicator is just basically to help you look at these little pullback areas and say, okay, what are these areas where you really should be concerned about a price turn or a major area of liquidity, or is it just a little bit of noise within the trend? And that's the usage for this. So this is a custom indicator. It's not in the regular MetaTrader 5 indicator list. It is a custom indicator. I think I downloaded it somewhere. Again, that's where I find a lot of these. I just Google it. It's pretty good. I don't use it all the time, and I'm not even sure if I'll keep it. I may just use it as a little bit like for training wheels, kind of for me on using the line chart. And as I've also said, guys, in the previous videos, you cannot completely discount the regular underlying candlesticks. I still will turn those on just to kind of see, mark more precise levels. And you can see the liquidity sweep down here. You can see this gold went down here, swept down the liquidity below here, and then we had this big bullish candle come flying back here, and price just started going up after that. All right, so that's gold. If we look at copper, so this is a new one I started looking at. This is the micro copper. The broker actually just started offering micro copper. If you trade the regular copper, you have to have a really large account. And I'm at this point, it's not that I don't have the account. It's just that I'm new to this, and there's a lot of risk and a lot of margin tied up on even the E-mini copper. And so they now offer micro, and even with the micro, there's quite a bit of leverage on this. So so here we are on copper. You can see I'm in a long position right now, and it hasn't really done much. I actually did take a short on the E-mini copper today from, well, this is the micro one, so I can't really show you, but on the let's see here if I can pull up the regular one here. What is it called? Probably shouldn't be doing this right now, guys, but just looking at my list here. You know what? I don't want to tie up the video. So anyways, I did take a short on this copper break below support here, and got out before it got down to this support area. It was a really nice trade, actually, and I didn't even max it out either. But the reason why I didn't hang on to it too long is because if you look at the higher time, here's the hourly chart of the copper, and you can definitely see we've been in a very strong uptrend for quite a while now. If we zoom out a little bit, we've been in an uptrend as far out as I can zoom here, pretty much. And this goes back to January. We've been in an uptrend in copper. So, I don't want to like fight the uptrend. And so this area here, if we go to the 30-minute chart, we have this little pullback here. So this is where I drew my rectangle box this morning using the both the line chart and the Heiken Ashi Smooth indicator, showing this decent sized pullback, as opposed to these little tiny ones back here like this, which is nothing. This was a more substantial pullback, not overly big, but I felt like this would be an area of opportunity. And you can see price fell today, early on. This was the initial structure break on the really short time frame. This is where I took that short position from here when it broke this. But like I said, I had no intention of holding it past this area. And you can see price came down. And I drew these arrows thinking, okay, well, if we're going to turn lower, we'll probably break through, retest, and turn lower. Or we're going to go higher. That's what these blue arrows are. Let me just take these off so you can see underneath. Just take those off, and you can see again we had what is potentially a liquidity sweep. We'll see, but you can see where price came. This is the line chart showing that we broke and closed below this zone right here, and then quickly came right back. The Heiken Ashi Smooth indicator actually, you can see, just wicked out underneath here, right? We just had attempts to go, and then price started coming back up. So as soon as I started seeing blue candles again, I jumped in and took this long position, figuring that the larger uptrend would continue. That might not end up being the case. This could just be a situation where price breaks structure, comes up, retests, and then goes lower. And if it does, that's great. This is a pretty small position I have on here. It's just one contract. And, if it turns out this fails and starts moving lower again tomorrow, then honestly, I will change my bias to short. And, there's not a lot here to stop this from going like all the way back down, like into this area down here. So we'll see. But again, I'm just respecting the longer term time frame, which is clearly bullish. But, we could have just a more substantial pullback, and this definitely could go lower. But like I said, right now I'm going to hold this long position into the overnight session, and we'll see what happens. Ultimately, like I said, if I get stopped out, it's not a big deal. It's one contract on a micro, and so I'm fine with that. All right. So, but again, you can see, here on the 30-minute time frame, price goes up here. And you can see, even in here where price kind of started going sideways, we had, blue candles. We still had bullish Heiken Ashi candles. So to give you, just to say, this is still an area where if you were in a long here, you could have held. It did finally run out of steam and started going back down. And again, on the 5-minute time frame, here's that same area. And we broke structure right here. And we came back. This is a perfect little break and retest. And you can see it failed right at this line, and then had this big sell off underneath of it. So you certainly can trade these counter trend, on a shorter time frame, but I always just want to respect what's going on the higher time frame, and pick levels, take profit levels that make sense. And to me, down here inside this blue rectangle is what made sense to me, and that's what I did. And again, similar to what we saw in gold, we'll see. I don't know if this will end up playing out, whether this is a liquidity sweep and we end up going higher, or whether this was a break and now we're just retesting and then we're going to turn lower. You can't really go too much by this price action here late in the day, because it's the late afternoon session, and the volume completely dries up, and so price is just not going to do anything. So we'll have to wait and see what this does as we head towards the session tomorrow, when the volume starts to pick up again. All right. And then if we look in, this is natural gas. I did not trade this today. For most of the session, we were trading inside this range here. And, when I came to the charts this morning, somewhere around in here is about when I started looking. I noticed things were kind of moving sideways. We came back up to the top of this range and we sold off again. I'm like, this is really choppy. I'm just not interested in this. This is a 15-minute chart. If you go out to the 30-minute, again, we're just range trading. Now, we finally did break out of that this afternoon for a few hours, but I did not trade this asset today. I did have some nice trades in natural gas this week, but you can see when this thing consolidates, like it's kind of the same thing back here. When it consolidates, it tends to consolidate for extended periods of time. It takes a deep breath like this, and then finally it'll go. So it did eventually break out, but I did not trade this today. So, and I did not trade NQ or ES, but we'll just take a quick look at those. We had positive news this morning for these markets in terms on the inflation front. And so this was about where this right here is, I bet you, is 8:30 this morning. Yep, this is exactly 8:30 on my broker chart. It says 12:30, but that's 8:30 real time. It's 12:30 on my broker chart. But this is where the CPI news came out this morning. Price went right from there and never looked back. And quite frankly, there were a couple of little places to get in here, but I just chose not to trade these today, and it's a little frustrating to look at them and know that there were good opportunities. And obviously the ES is the same way. And you can see on the ES, well, let's see, where was 12:30 on the ES? Yeah, so this is where the news was on the ES today. This here's 12:30 on the ES. And, same thing. We just, went straight up and we really never looked back. And again, we had a couple of opportunities, especially this would have been the best place. If you missed this initial run, this was the place to get in long, and then price just kept going the rest of the day. But I was really focusing on copper and gold today. And once I saw these things shoot out of the box, I just, kind of put them aside. Honestly, I'm probably looking at too many of these, even though there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 4, because the ES and the NASDAQ are pretty much mirror each other. So I kind of consider those as one, even though they're completely different baskets of stocks. They do tend to move almost in tandem with each other. And like I said, generally what I do is, if I think there might be a setup of one, I just look at both of them and I take the one that has the more obvious, clearer levels. That's all. Because sometimes just at an entry point, one might just look better than the other one. But essentially, they move the same way. And I prefer to take trades on NASDAQ if I can, just because there's more volatility, and the point values and everything are higher. But of course, the downside of that, there's more risk too than taking a comparable number of contracts on the ES. So, but anyways, so yeah, I've debated whether I should kind of cut down instead of adding. I did get rid of crude oil. I kind of closed that out, but now I'm kind of messing around with copper a little bit, and I'm not sure how long. I'm just trying to find assets that tend to have nice patterns and move really well, or not overly choppy and don't have like giant volatility, spikes and swings. And copper doesn't appear to. It obviously can go through a lot of consolidation period, but when it does move, it tends to move pretty well and respects levels and respects market structure, and can be a little easier to read the chart, and that's really what I'm looking for. I was just finding with crude oil, it was just too choppy, too many big swings. I was having to keep my stops too wide, and I just wasn't comfortable with it anymore. So, and at best I was having about a 50-50 win rate with it, and I just said, you know what, there's other markets to trade, and I just made a decision. I wasn't going to do crude oil anymore. And like I said, I'm still looking at copper here, and we'll see what happens if I choose to stay with this or not. So there is definitely, like the NQ, there's a lot of upside profit potential with this, but there's also a substantial amount of risk. But as long as the market is moving, fairly consistently when it does move, and the patterns and the structure levels tend to hold, then that's really all I ask. So Yeah. So again, guys, this is the Heiken Ashi Smooth indicator. Again, the only purpose of this is to basically be a little bit of a crutch and a little bit of added thing with the line chart. The other thing I had, because I can't have the candlesticks in the line chart on here at the same time. It's just you can't do that in MetaTrader. It's one or the other. I probably can't do it on any platform. So it's not like I can have the line chart overlaid with the candles. And I'm not really sure there'd be a reason to do that. Anyways, but then I overlaid the line chart with regular Heiken Ashi candles. And I didn't really find that to be very helpful just in back testing. But I did find there was a little bit of help with doing it this way with the Heiken Ashi Smooth indicator, which again smooths out the Heiken Ashi even more, and the line chart together. But kind of the jury's still out on that. I may eventually just dump the Heiken Ashi and just go back to the line chart and just alternate it with turning candlesticks on and off, and that might be just fine too. But I did want to point out that that's what you were looking at here. So anyways, guys, that's kind of the market wrap for today. And like I said, make sure you smash that like button. Any questions, comments, let me know down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time. And I will look forward to getting back on here hopefully tomorrow, and maybe try to do a little pre-market open before things get going. I really did mean to do that today, but I got to the charts a little late, and things were already kind of happening, and I just didn't have time. But I will try to do that tomorrow, and just take a quick look before things, before the kind of the North American session starts up and volatility and volume starts coming in, certainly before 9:30, but even before 8 o'clock would be good, because markets like this and gold tend to start moving earlier than 9:30. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a great night, and we'll talk to everybody soon.